Good. Welcome. Let me see what I got. So Mandy bought herself a fine parrot, and she got it home and she started trying to teach it some words, but the parrot already knew some words of its own, and it started saying just the most offensive words that you can think of. And she took it back to the pet store and said, "You got to take this bird back." She said, "No, I'm sorry, we don't do that." But it's true, this was a used parrot. It belonged to a pirate. It probably learned some things at sea, and they lived like 40 years. So you got to make peace with this. And every time she had a guest over, the parrot would say something really offensive and terrible. And finally, she took it to the vet. She said, "Look, how do you untrain a parrot?" The vet said, "Well, there's really only one way to do it. When the parrot says a word that you object to, you just take the bird into your kitchen, put it in the freezer, wait a minute and a half, take it out, and eventually it'll learn, better manners." She said, "Absolutely not. There's no, I would never do that to another living creature." But one day some friends were over and the parrot just got started and wouldn't stop. And finally she took it into the kitchen, put it in the freezer, waited a minute and a half. She was really worried about this thing. But when she opened the freezer door, the parrot came out. He said, "I'll be good." But that turkey in there, what did he say? All right.
Oh,
That's the bird story. And we'll see later on. It really will tie in with today's message. You'll see. Welcome to this place which we make holy by our presence. These doors are open to all. Bring your brokenness and bring your power. Bring your fatigue, your early morning aches, and your energy. For here you need not hide, nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and who you are called to be. Come into this place where the ordinary is sanctified, where the human is celebrated, where compassion is strength. Welcome to this place. Together we make it a holy place. Please join me for the words of the chalice lighting, which are printed in your leaflet. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of freedom. And now please stand if you wish and join us for hymn 361, "Enter, Rejoice, and Come In." responsive hymn today, our responsive reading today will be number 643 in the back of the hymnal. Number 643. This is the 66th Psalm. You make, you make the outgoings of the morning and the evening to shout for joy. You visit the earth, watering it, making it very rich. The great river swells with water, filling the ridges, blessing the growth of grain. You crown the year with your abundance. The pastures are perfumed with dew. The hills deck themselves with joy. The meadows adorn themselves with flocks. The valleys gown themselves with grain. They shout for joy. They join in song. This is the part of the service when we take a moment to share some of those special joys and some of those heavy concerns that we bring in with us. And I think sharing these, personal moments is part of what brings us together as a congregation. So when you share something, you're not putting your own, your own weight or your own, burden on this group of people. This is part of how we really arrive here and how we know that we are a congregation together. So please think about if there's something you'd like to share, and if you do, please come up and light a candle.
Hello. A joy that I have is it's almost Father's Day. My dad is very important to me, so I can't wait to celebrate him. Me and my sister will do something that we don't like to do for him, which is cook. So we're gonna cook one of the Haitian dishes that we make, and we make it well. We just hate cooking though, so we'd hardly ever make it. And he chose a tedious one too. And he was like, I did it on purpose. So we're looking forward to that. And a concern that I have, I guess, it's nice that the year is ending, but I'm the kind of teacher that maintains my expectations till the very end. I don't care if it's literally one day left. I maintain my expectations till the very end. And so my students have been struggling, obviously, to maintain final expectations because they're excited. They just want to zone out. And, well, we're not done working. So anyways, that brought up something that someone said to excuse their behavior because of their disability. My students' behavior is not because of their disability. They know right from wrong. They even tell me, sometimes I act this way because I want to. It's frustrating when the people that's supposed to help support you with students' behavior think it's because of their disability when it's not. I know my students, and they are very well, they know themselves, and they also know when they're acting bad, and they even tell me why they're acting bad and that they don't care, and they just know it's almost the end of the year. And no matter how many times I go over my expectations, it will still be a struggle because it is the end of the year. They were ready to check out in May. So it has been a struggle since May because these kids are smart and they were like, well, we want to check out. And I was like, that ain't happening. And so it's been a struggle, but I think we're going to end the year on a positive note. On Friday, I feel like we made some stride in finding a middle ground for the end of the year. So hopefully we can continue on that middle ground we found so we can end the year on a positive note while still being respectful and still following expectations as they know they should. Thank you. Hi. On Friday, June 19th, I'll be doing, it's been a while since I've done poetry reading, so I'm nervous for it. It'll be in Buffalo. I'll be reading 2 poems. One poem I had to write about a certain topic, menthol, the negative impacts of menthol. So, that was hard. And then the other poem was just any poem you wrote. So I am nervous for it. I'm especially nervous to read my own poem, not the mental one, in front of my mom. Just because growing up, she never really... she avoided talking about race, but which is fine. But my dad didn't avoid it. 2 different style. So this poem do explore a little of race. So I'm nervous for my mom to hear it. But at the end of the day, as long as she just can come and be happy for me, doing something that I love, that's all that I hope for. But she can be judgmental, so I'm just hoping she's not too judgmental about it. And I wrote the poem not to make her feel bad or anything. This is just me exploring my thoughts, my ways, how I grew up, and my experience. So I just hope she just don't take whatever it's called. Offense. Thank you. And then I guess a joy/concern. I guess next year possibly I might move to a different school to be a 1211 because this year I was in 813 with so much adults in the room. Oh my God, it's been the longest first year of my life. I have 4 adults, associates, aides in my classroom, plus me. Yay! As a teacher, they never teach you how to manage adults, how to supervise adults. And I realized I really don't want to do that as a teacher, at least not in the beginning of my career. So I'm really, really hoping that this 1211 comes through for me. I'm hoping to find more about it this week. Keeping my fingers crossed because you got to understand this year between dealing with my mild TBI plus all the associates in my room, it's just taking a toll in my mental health to the point that I'm not enjoying coming to work. But I still do it. You know why? Because I love my students. But I still don't have enough joy going into work. And sometimes I'm just sad at work, and I just don't want to feel sad at work. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed, either at 1211 or 1511, anything, just very little adults, just 1 adult plus me, that's fine. So it's just been a really long, difficult first year. I would not recommend for first year teachers to do that type of classroom. They just don't prepare you for it in college. But I'm hopeful. Oh yeah, on last Friday, we had fun day. It was so much fun. My kids loved it. All my kids, they behaved, they loved it. Even I enjoyed myself. It's probably the first event all year long that I didn't feel stressed as a teacher. Even I had fun, which is where, as a teacher, sometimes field trips and everything stresses you out, but not fun day. For me, fun day was fun for me and my students, and it was just for once I actually enjoyed being at work. It was amazing. And I would like to continue feeling that. So I'm hoping a change of classroom will help me with that. Yes.
Well, mine is actually, you open up a can of worms, John. Mine's like a real life version of a bird story, similar to that one, only without the freezer. This bird probably should have been put in the freezer. But I'm going to start off with my stepbrother, David Maynard. Okay, this is down in Hudson, Florida. And David had, well, he was, to give you a little bit of background on him, he was a world famous photographer for a while in the early 2000s. His pictures were in Shutterbug magazine, Photoshop, all these magazines, you name it. Mostly his pictures were of the green frogs with the red eyes. He'd have pictures of women in lingerie on the beach, things like that. Well, because of that, and he did a lot of seminars, he had people, other photographers and big people from companies over to his house. Well, one day, you heard some people were coming in the back door through the kitchen in that way, and most people were just coming in front of the garage because he had the garage door open. Well, they heard this noise in the kitchen, and it sounded like somebody was talking, and then all of a sudden, a few four-letter words were coming out of this person in the kitchen, like what the f, you know? Well, David kept hearing. He was embarrassed. That was the embarrassing part. So this bird saying, he didn't know it was the bird yet. They thought it was a person in there. You know, David walks in and there's his parrot Shanti, tilts his head to David and says, "What the f?" And this bird should have been put in the freezer at that point. Oh, and this candle is for Shanti because David had to end up, he sold the bird, whatever. But so it's under a new owner. But thing is, parrots live, actually, some of them live longer than their owners. Parrots can live like over 100 years. So probably Shanti's still alive someplace in someone's house, and hopefully he's changed his language a little.
I just want to say what a joy it is to have Bill back in church and that he's well.
Well, I'm going to light one last candle for those joys and concerns that we're still keeping inside, for those of us who are still keeping our parrot in that freezer. Someday it'll all come out. And now is the time of the offertory when we share our gifts for the work of this church. Well, it's so nice when the front door of this building is open because you get to walk right by that little tree. And at this time of year, it is full of birds. And you've got all of this chirping going on. And as summer approaches and the birds return, I'm reminded of the old expression, birds of a feather flock together, which I think is supposed to tell us something about what it means to be human. And as I look around this room, I do see a group of like-minded people in some ways, and in other ways, a pretty colorful flock of individuals, each one unique. And that's what makes it interesting to be here. But I'm not sure if that tells me anything about actual birds. And as I pondered this question, I came to realize I don't actually know anything about birds. So I asked Elizabeth, what is a bird? She told me that 66 million years ago, a meteor struck the Earth. And the force of the impact caused a bunch of volcanoes to explode. Thick clouds of dust blotted out the sun, and plants couldn't get enough light to grow. So they withered. And the plant-eating dinosaurs were dying. And the dinosaurs who ate the plant-eating dinosaurs were dying. And the dinosaur babies being born were small and stunted. But they were better off this way because there just weren't enough calories around to support large dinosaurs. After billions of years of the biggest and strongest being on top, suddenly the advantage went to the smaller ones, like the runt of the litter. All of a sudden, that's the one you wanted to be. And because it was dark for so long, it became advantageous to be able to communicate through song. And to be able to communicate because all of the old instinctive information was becoming obsolete, and all of the necessary information was new. In this rapidly changing new setting, she told me, diversity was more important than uniformity. When circumstances are steady, species will try to replicate themselves. But when times are changing, it's better to diversify in the hope that some quirky mutation will be able to adapt to the ever-changing environment. The absolute scrawniest of the dinosaurs' descendants were so small and fragile that their scales splintered into feathers, and so frail that they could actually ride on a breeze. And their appetites were so small that they could just pick and peck here and there and get enough calories to survive. And in that darkness of the cloud from the meteor crash, they broke through that cold, blinded loneliness with music. Not beautiful music. There were no humans yet to classify the music as beautiful. It was trashy music, corny pickup lines, nonstop obscenity. But there were also no humans around to put parental guidance stickers on it. So she told me, that's what a bird is. And I can't quite say it as well as she can, but I really did pay attention. And it really got me thinking about the mammals who also happened to survive that meteor cloud because they were so small, like moles. You know, all of the mammals on Earth are descended from these little rodent-like creatures that were kind of ferreting and hiding while the dinosaurs were walking. And they had already spent most of their time burrowing to hide from the dinosaurs, and their appetites were very small, a few grubs, and they were good for the day. And as the clouds gradually cleared and the dinosaurs were mostly gone, except for the crocodiles and the Loch Ness Monster, the mammals diversified too. And then came our ancestors, who couldn't fly like the hawk or run like the cheetah or hit like the chimp, but developed the ability to mimic other animal sounds and bird sounds. It's kind of funny. Sometimes, someone will go to a musical and they walk out grumbling, nobody bursts into song like that in real life. And it makes me wonder, what life have you been living? Because when there's no one around, I burst into song all the time. Or when it's just me and my kids, or I'm out with my friends, when we have a good time, people do burst into song. When I feel secure, I sing. From the time of our birth, human beings sing for 2 years before they talk. Song is not melodic speech. Speech is flattened song. Music is our inborn language. Babies in China and Oklahoma and Argentina all come out singing the same songs. It's not a happy song. The infant cry basically means, "Mommy, come feed me," or "Tiger, come eat me," but one way or another, I'm done being hungry. The human race sang for a long time before it could speak. And every baby has to go through this same process of change. And then some of us are told that we are not singers, and the rest of us confine singing to certain designated settings. But when people let their guard down, in the shower or celebrating with friends or folding the laundry, song wants to come out. I think that's part of the reason that we're gathered here today, to be in a place where it's safe to sing together. And it feels good. I think song is a lot of what keeps religion alive, singing together in a sacred space. It is a sacrament. In the God-fearing religions, song is a gift to God or gods. Sing to the Lord a new song, we're told in the biblical book of Psalms. And in indigenous American religions, song is a gift from the spirits. When a new song is revealed, maybe someone just made it up and it's functional, but when someone sings a new song and it assists with the delivery of a long gestating emotion, when you hear a song that sounds both familiar and new, then you say the spirits have revealed it. And not only is it a nice gift, but it's also a reminder that the spirits still care, that they're still paying attention, that they're not set in stone or stuck in the past, that the spirits are present and want to communicate with the way that you feel today. And they do that by putting a new melody in someone's mind so that that person can share it to heal the community. We humans are rare in the animal world in that we can mimic other animal sounds, including bird sounds. And sometimes I wonder if that's one of the ways that the spirits can reveal a new song. The spirits reveal new things to me in my migratory travels to various Unitarian Universalist churches. People say things to me. I have no idea who they think I am. Once after a service, a guy walked up smiling, patted me on the back and said, "It's so great belonging to a church that doesn't take itself too seriously. Just look at the way you're dressed." And that really made me think. It wasn't here. That really made me think. But not as hard as this. Recently, a woman stopped me at a church. She was really nice and clearly felt that we had something in common. And she told me about her parrot, whom she had for about 40 years. And how, like the parrots of so many dirty jokes, he really did retain the worst words that she said. And she insisted that she use bad words very sparingly. And I told her it's all right, because birds in the wild only sing the most crass and vulgar things to each other. They have dirty minds by nature, and there must have been something special in her tone of voice that alerted this bird that such and such unmentionable word was the human equivalent of bird song. And she told me that when her parrot passed away, she went and got a tattoo, a picture of her parrot on her shoulder where he used to perch, so that in a way he could always be with her. And I was reminded that if I could ever afford a tattoo, it would be the albatross from the rhyme of the Ancient Mariner hanging around my neck, because I once had a necklace and it just didn't work for me. I just can't do necklaces. But if I had a necklace, it would be that. And then I thought, like, if I just got a tattoo of a chain and the albatross, then I wouldn't have to ever worry about where it was or whatever. Anyway, she told me this story. It was quite something, but that did not prepare me for the next bird story. Yes?
An idea for the next time.
Okay, yeah, that's right. That would be, if you can find it, that would be a really good tie for me. You know, we keep a copy of the Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner next to the children's bed, and when when it's time for me to read to them at bedtime, it's always the one I want to reach for. I'm like, but wouldn't you like to hear the rhyme? And they say no. But they've not yet learned to quote the Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, which is, if somebody offers you something you don't want, you say, "Unhand me, graybeard loon." All right. But the next bird story that she told me, and you'll never believe it, but this is not some composite. I'm not making this up. She really was one very literal, singular, historical figure who told me these stories last Sunday. She told me that once in her younger days, she was working as a receptionist in an office building. And one morning she came in and there was this loud clanging construction going on next door. And when she went to close a window to block out the sound, she saw there, across the way, pigeons that were leaving their nests because of the noise. And the nests that they left still had their eggs in them. So she went and she got the nests and brought them back to her office. And she found a foam pad, like one of those mattress pads, to protect them, set them down on her desk chair, sat on the eggs. Then, after a long day of keeping the nests warm, when the builders stopped, she returned the nests to their perches, and the pigeon mothers returned to sit on them. And the following day, she did it again, and she kept this up through the full building project. Even her boss, who knew about it, took up some secretarial duties, fetching coffee and bringing papers around so that she wouldn't have to keep getting up and leaving these nests. And finally, after this went on for a while, she really did hatch 4 nests of pigeons. So she returned the nests and these pigeon, chicks or whatever, and the parents came back, and then they were able to relocate. And I know this is usually the point where I would make some pun or say something funny, but I won't, because I'm really grateful for having heard that story. I did kind of want to say, you should be giving today's sermon, not me. I'm raising 4 kids, but they just leave trash all over the place. At least you hatched pigeons who fly around picking garbage up. Hearing the story of the woman who sheltered these vulnerable pigeon eggs, I was reminded of the indigenous American tribes of New York and their story, in which in the beginning, when there were no humans on earth and the earth was just dark water, this pregnant woman fell through a crack in the sky, and as she descended, she was spotted by a flock of loons who saw this mysterious featherless biped, and they probably heard her too. She was probably saying some things that birds, could recognize. Flapping her arms, no doubt, and somehow instinctively they knew that her arms would be as useless as flippers as they were as wings. This unidentifiable creature was going to hit the water and go under. According to the story, some of the birds wanted to help, and others felt that it wasn't their problem. And they voted and debated and voted and debated until finally they reached a consensus that they would assist. So they swirled around this falling woman, each bird holding one wing in the center of the circle and flapping the other on the outside of the circle. And they created this circular basket or nest. And this was how they cushioned her for a slow descent until they neared the water. Then they called down, and a giant turtle rose from the depths with its shell becoming an island for the sky woman to stand on. So there does seem to be something about the human being that feels a deep connection with our fine feathered friends. Or maybe it's a longing to feel like the birds care about us. They don't. The question of whether birds can care about other bird species with different feathers led me to an interesting article from the Florida Museum called, quote, "How Bird Flocks with Multiple Species Behave Like K-pop Groups." Apparently in forests, it's found that birds of different feathers do flock together. Some Amazon flocks contain up to 50 different species of similar but distinct birds. And they stick together because different types have different strategies for finding food, so they're not really in competition. Some only eat insects that are standing on top of a leaf, and while others only eat insects that cling below a leaf. And others eat only insects that stand on plant stalks or tree branches. So they can all get along. Like my brother and I with a plate of chicken wings. I only eat the legs, and he only eats the wings, so we never reach for the same one at the same time. Maybe that, the eating of a bird, isn't the best example, but for some reason it's the only one that come to mind. And in these mixed flocks, some species are good at looking out for predators and sounding the alarm, so everyone feels safer. The article title implies that they learned this from Korean pop bands, but I think the flocks probably came up with this first. It's just that ornithologists have to keep their research trendy if they want their message to get through to Floridian millennials. And I can certainly say kids in Florida do need to hear that birds of different feathers can get along together. It takes all kinds to make up a flock. And like those dinosaurs who gradually became birds to survive the extinction, we don't all need to be the biggest and strongest. Sometimes it's the ones who can fly lightest who make it through the darkest times. And like the mixed flocks in the forest canopies, we find that we can coexist, not just because of our commonalities, but also because of our differences. We don't all need to be birds of a feather to fly well together. Thank you. Thank you. See, I said that, and somebody just started flapping their arms. All right. Our next hymn is number 131, Love Will Guide Us.
No.
Excuse me. Yes.
Last week, Diane wanted to do 391 again, but then Reverend had piped up about something else I was rattling on about. But this song actually kind of fits into...
Yes, please. Did you say it's number?
391.
Number 391. Yes, please. Do we have any announcements today?
I just wanted to mention that we still have Sunday services for Sunday programs for the summertime. If anybody would like to sign up, there's a lot of empty spaces still. And if I have to cover one, all I know how to do is math, and we will do a math lesson over pencils, calculators, so we want to fill those up. And then Patty.
There are two sheets in the narthex, or there will be. One is the directory. I just want everybody to check their listing. We had new people we added. Maybe everybody can just check and make sure theirs are correct. And then we're putting the sheet out of jobs for the summer that really need to get done around here. Nothing really too intense. But if people could sign up to help out and clean up the place a little, it would be a big help.
This is an announcement I've been waiting for a long time to make. This place is very, very important to me. And so, thanks to the sale of a home, this house will be $100,000 richer as a result of this donation. It is meant to repair the things that need to be repaired. I hope you'll all have a part in what that looks like. And so I just want you to think about it. But also, I encourage anybody else who would make a donation, who would like to. I don't like having my name on anything. So just, if you would just, maybe you feel like donating something to help this capital campaign, that would be great. Because you're all so much part of this, and it takes a little bit from everybody. Maybe it's some of the work that can be done, that would be done by the people in this congregation. So we're lucky to have all of you. I'm so appreciative of this congregation, and also since the sale of my house, I have no worries. For the rest of my life, my health is good. Surprisingly. and that's all. I just wanted to say that, and I hope you will have some joy as well. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to announce that in about a half hour, I'll be doing an adult education session about some of the interesting and overlooked diversity in the first years of Christianity. So I hope you'll join us back up here for that. Together, we have sanctified this space. If you have found strength and comfort here, share some out there. Remember that you are blessed, and you are a blessing, and you are not alone. Please join me for the words of extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
So, well, why don't we just do 131 now?
Okay.
Yeah. And, I have a bird joke. So these two birds are sitting on a branch, and the one bird goes, tweet, tweet, and the other bird goes, oh, geez, now I'm going to have that tune in my head all day.